Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Purdue, and I am the infrastructure nerd, and this is our October 2013 Coffee Pot webinar about PracticeMaster and Tabs in the Platinum and Platinum SQL versions. A lot of talk lately about Platinum. Platinum is more expensive. We'll get that right out of the way, but it's got some functionality that people are talking about, mainly Tabs3 Connect, but we'll cover everything that's different. So we are going to talk today about what's different between the regular multi-user version of Tabs and PracticeMaster and the Platinum version. We'll also go into some details about what's different between the Platinum and the Platinum SQL version. If you've ever attended one of Phil's sessions, Phil is I don't know what Phil's official title is. He's one of the head development and direction guys at STI, Software Technology. If you've ever attended his session, this is not the same. I'm going to talk English. Phil is great at explaining all the technical intricacies of Platinum and how they work. And by all means, if you are a nerd like me, be sure to register for one of his presentations because it will get very, very deep and very technical. I will not. I'm going to explain in plain English what the differences are and why they're significant. A little bit of preamble first, a little bit of housekeeping. This is your GoToWebinar control panel, this part right here. If you are looking at this, it means you have not minimized it, and you can minimize it with this right here. This is the button that will push us over from showing this to not. This button that looks like arrows pointing to the right will slide this big control panel out of the way. When you do that, this button will turn into one that looks like arrows pointing to the left, and that will slide this big control panel back into play. Why would you want to slide that back into play? Mainly because you're shy and you have a question. If you are shy and have a question, feel free to type it here. Be sure to hit send. Leanne, our humble and efficient moderator, will notice that you've asked a question. She will wait for the opportune moment. She will interrupt me and ask your question on your behalf. Now, she's waving at me right now. I don't know what that means, but we're just going to keep talking until she does something more drastic. If while your question is being answered, you have more follow-up questions, just keep typing them. Don't worry about how many you may have. Leanne is waving at me now. So, yes, Leanne?
This is more of a comment than a question.
Yes.
But the comment is that Phil's official title is Director of Development.
Whose official title?
Phil. You were talking.
Oh, it's Marcia. That must be Marcia.
Yeah.
Hi, Marcia. Marcia's with us today. Marcia directs marketing at Software Technology. I don't know her official title. I have a feeling in a moment we will know her official title. But Phil's official title is Director of Development. And basically what that means is he's a nerd. One of the things that we're going to talk about at Tabs3 Connect, and I made the mistake sitting at dinner one night of asking Phil how Tabs3 Connect works, specifically the website part of it. And 2 hours later, I knew exactly every intricate working of how Tabs3 Connect works. Very interesting conversation, not one I'd recommend for the faint of heart. Now, if you are asking a question and you're doing it by typing, just keep typing your follow-up questions. Don't worry about how many you have to type. If I'm not answering your question, keep asking it or keep asking follow-up questions. Do not forget to hit send. If you are not shy and you want to ask a question, press this button, which looks like a hand with an arrow pointing upward in front of it. That means raise your hand. Leanne will still notice, but this time instead of asking your question on your behalf, she will unmute you at the appropriate time and let you ask your own question. So again, keep asking them. If you're unmuted, you are in a one-way conversation with me, and you can keep following up until we're done answering the question, and we'll mute you back up and move on. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to go to something that Marcia probably has a lot of say in, and I'm going to go to Tabs and PracticeMaster's website. And this link will get you there. Don't worry about writing it down. I will send you, if you registered for this webinar, which you have to have if you are watching it live, we will send you in our follow-up email this link. Okay. If you are watching this as a recorded version, just go ahead and follow that link or write it down, and that will allow you to get to this information that I'm talking about. This page on STI's website talks specifically about the differences between the regular multi-user version of Tabs3 and PracticeMaster and the Platinum version. It lists them all down here. Some of them are not quite as exciting as the others, so they don't have little pictures next to them. And then it also goes into detail about Platinum SQL. We will cover all these things. So be sure to have this available as a reference as you're studying the differences between the two. Now, the reason so many people are asking these questions these days, how much is Platinum? How does it work? How much does it cost? What does it do? This is the main reason. About a year and a half ago, STI released in version 16.2, I believe, Tabs3 Connect, which takes certain functionality that is available in PracticeMaster and puts it out on the web for people to see and people to interact with in a very, very secure nature that is totally coming from your server. It doesn't put stuff in the cloud. It does not put stuff out there where other people can see it. The only time this information is in any way on the internet is as it's traveling between your server and your device, and at that point that connection is closed, and there is no way that people can get to this information. Now Leanne is motioning to me. Do we have a question, Leanne?
David is hoping that you're going to compare the pricing structures.
I am.
Okay.
I am. Okay. Now, this is Tabs3 Connect. I'm just very briefly going to show you. You go to a website, tabs3connect.com. You sign in with a very secure password. It can't be short. It can't have just letters or numbers. It has to have a special character, I believe, now. It's a very secure password. It's a very secure site, and it takes this functionality and puts it out there. For instance, you can go into the Matter Manager and see all the information about a matter just like you would be able to if you were connected to your network running the regular desktop version of PracticeMaster. You can go into your calendar and see what you or other people at your firm are doing. I was in Cleveland this week. Right now I'm on this coffee pot webinar. Tomorrow's cleanup day. That means we get to take stuff to the junkyard for free. This is my calendar. You can see information about people, not just the people that you've synced with your phone, but everybody. So you can look up telephone numbers and email addresses and contact information without having to sync to your phone or for information that may not be specific to you and therefore may not be synced to your phone. You can enter costs and you can view client information. I think those are the boring things. Why? Because the client information you can also see through the Matter Manager. And I always say this, who enters costs from the road? What lawyer enters costs from the road? Those are typically generated when accounting cuts a check to the clerk of courts or to the court reporter or an expert witness. Although I have clients that use this. I have a client in Chicago that has an office in Champlain, Illinois, and they send attorneys down to the court in Champlain, and they enter their mileage from the road. So it does have utility. I just don't think it's all that exciting. And one of the #1 reasons that people are looking for Tabs3 Connect and hence looking for Platinum is this, the ability to enter time. I'm going to very quickly enter a time transaction for Purdue Law Offices, 0.25 hours, talk to Dave. I am going to hit the Save button. And as soon as this says it's saved, I'm going to go over to my copy of PracticeMaster. I'm going to look at Purdue Law Offices. I'm going to click on the Fee tab, and there is the $25 0.25 hour fee transaction for Purdue Law Offices. That is usually the #1 reason that people want Tabs3 Connect. They want their attorneys to be able to enter the billing entry for the 0.2 of an hour for the email they just answered in line at Starbucks and have that fee transaction in the Tabs system at their firm by the time the barista hands them their double latte, mocha, whatever with skim and light and whatever. That is what's happening here, and since I don't want my brother Dave to get mad at me, I'm going to immediately delete that fee entry. So that is Tabs3 Connect in a nutshell, and I give you that very quick view because this is not about Tabs3 Connect. This is about Platinum, and Tabs3 Connect is one of the features. So I'm going to send you to our website and show you that if you click on the link for the Coffee Pot webinars and scroll down to May, oops, there is a full half-hour demonstration of Tabs3 Connect on our website. So without further ado, go to our website, go to the Coffee Pot section, scroll down to May, and spend a half hour or 35 minutes learning all there is to know about Tabs3 Connect. What other features are there in Platinum? Well, there's a couple that are, well, one that's exciting and one that's kind of boring, and they go together, and they are key to the safety and the ability to protect your data. First is hot backup. How many times have you done this? It's time to go ahead and run update statements or do something that requires that you do a backup. And they warn you before you do it. They say a backup is required or is recommended. Do you want to do that now? And you're thinking, no, I'm not going to kick everybody out of PracticeMaster. I'm not going to kick people out of Tabs. I'm going to knock on wood and hope that when I don't do this backup that nothing happens. Hot backup is simply the ability to do a backup while people are in the software. I do them all the time at client sites because before we do something that is going to change the data structure, we need to make sure the data is backed up. Now, this other feature almost alleviates, although not really, but almost alleviates the need for hot backup. It's called auto recovery, and it works like this. If you are going to do something that may require a restore from a backup, if it were to be interrupted either by a network issue or a network failure or a power outage or a computer failure, auto recovery is a feature that will, when something like that is happening, will take a snapshot of your data just before it happens, will monitor the completion of the task or group of tasks, and then will make sure that that task was completed fully. And if not, it will roll your data back to where it was before it started, and it will start over. In a nutshell, it makes sure that if something bad happens while you're doing something like that, updating statements is a good example, that it can automatically recover without your even having to restore from a backup. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't back up. I didn't mean to imply that. I just meant that the one kind of goes hand in hand with the other. One, the auto recovery is there to protect your data. Two, the hot backup is there to allow you to back up even though you've got the auto recovery in case there's a problem that goes beyond the scope of what auto recover can do. eNote is the ability to send within PracticeMaster instant messages that, and Leanne, can you take a Purdue Law Office's client and send me an eNote with eNotify with the client record attached. Allows me to send instant messages to people in my office by creating a new eNote to Leanne, whose last name is Cottrell, saying, hi, lunchtime, question mark. Very important communications that we're sending. They usually have to do with a case, obviously. And so it's basically like instant messaging, but it's instant messaging that is tied to the matter. So later on, I can see all the eNotes that I've sent back and forth. I can tie them to a specific matter. I can see the chain of communication. But unlike email, these are going to pop up on your screen. Now here's my note from Leanne that says, hello, Paul. And she has not just sent me a note that says, hello, Paul, but she has attached to it a client record. This is kind of like an eNote, but it's called an eNotify, where a record in PracticeMaster is attached. Let's say, for example, that you want to ask a colleague about a certain matter and whether or not they had a conversation with the client about green versus blue. You can take that client record, click the eNotify button, send them a message that said, did you talk to the client? Did they agree that it was blue and not green? When you do that, not only do they get the message saying, did they agree that it was blue and not green, they also get a link to the corresponding client record, so they can click right on that link, go right to that record and see what it is you're talking about. Maybe you're journaling emails in PracticeMaster, and there's an email that was received by the paralegal, and now the attorney is going to eNote somebody else, in the, an associate attorney, saying, did you see this email that Joanne got yesterday? And instead of just referring to it and causing the person to have to go look for it, by e-notifying, by attaching that record to it, the other person can say, well, what email? Oh, here it is. Click. They're looking at the email. Very neat feature. Part of Platinum, not part of the regular multi-user software. Going back here, we have accelerators. What does that mean? Reports are faster. 30, 35. I've seen, the highest I think I've seen is about 42 times faster. If you have a cash receipts report or receipt allocation report or whatever report it is that you're running in Tabs that has to sort through all that data in order to produce the desired results, and it's taking an hour or two to run, and we've seen this, the Platinum version of that same report will run anywhere from, STI says 10 to 30 times. That's because they're being conservative. I typically see 25 to 40 times faster. We had one client that had a cash receipts report that was taking about an hour and 10 minutes. When we were done, it was about a minute and 37 seconds. So reports are blindingly fast. Not only that, filters in PracticeMaster and certain column sorting is going to be faster also with the accelerators. Now, just a quick sneak peek. Marcia, close your eyes. I'm not supposed to be showing them this. If we look at this feature here, which is new in version 17, where we're allowed to create these smart tabs that filter out certain things, that speed is going to be very, very important. For instance, here's all my clients that I should be dropping in on in Cleveland. Well, it's this one here, actually. And the ability for it to filter through the, I think we have about 7,000 records in our system, the ability for it to filter through those 7,000 records and produce this list here, sorted a certain way, grouped a certain way, that is really going to rely on using Platinum and having the accelerators that make those things go faster. Now, for those of you who are nerds, Brian, I know you're there, let me just explain that what this is server-side technology. For those of you that aren't nerds, what that means is if you have a report that you're running that has to look through the archive fee transactions, and you've been running Tabs for 20 years, and you're, let's say, a 10 or 12 attorney firm, you might have a lot of archive fee transactions. And in a non-Platinum version, it's got to pull that whole file of archived fees down to your workstation through the very thin, very slow network wire. I know it's not very slow, but it is when it's pulling a file that big down to analyze. The analyzing of that archived file, archived fee transaction file, takes place on your workstation, and because of that, it has to pull all 750,000 archive fee transactions down to your machine to sort through to find the 10 for the matter that you're currently looking to find. With the accelerators, with Platinum running, what happens is your workstation says, hey, I need this report and I need all the archive fee transactions for this matter. And the server says, okay, I'll take care of it. And the server, which is going to be much faster at processing this because it doesn't have to send it down that network wire, is going to say, okay, here's the 10 that you're looking for. Here's the report. Bam. And then the only thing that travels down the line is the report. That's what makes the reporting and the filters and the sorting so much faster. Only the results are being returned to your computer, not the whole file of information. Leanne is very patiently raising her hand on someone's behalf. Leanne?
Marcia would like you to know that people people that they can start using those tabs today if they want to sign up for beta.
Oh, okay. So she didn't close her eyes. That's true. Version 17, which we're looking at right now, is in beta. We've had it for about 3 or 4 weeks. It is very stable. It is very cool. There are a lot of neat things in there. We have not had a speck of trouble with it. It went out to clients, I believe, last Thursday. A week ago yesterday. And if you want to start working with version 17 right now, you can do that by simply sending an email to beta@tabs3.com. beta@tabs3.com. They will get you set. You have to sign an agreement that says that you understand it's a beta version, but I will tell you that the beta versions that software technology releases are way more stable than the final releases for some certain other as unnamed products that come out, and they're kind of a mess when they're released to the public. The betas that come from STI are more stable than those final products from other competitive products. Back to here. Log off users. Okay. For some of you, this is not going to be all that huge. For me, this is like, I can't begin to describe how important this is. When I'm at a firm, like some of my larger 30, 40, 45 attorney firms that have people on 3 floors, and we've said, yes, we're going to bring down PracticeMaster at lunch at 12:15. Everybody remember to log off, please, before you go to lunch. Nobody ever does. And in the old days, before this function that I'm about to show you, I had to run around to desktops on 3 floors, in some instances, logging people off. Let's say that I want to go into file maintenance. I'm going to close all my windows. If Mary Jo were watching Leanne, she'd be teasing me now. She thinks I have too many windows open. And when I do that, first it gives me a chance to make a hot backup, which is fine. I'm going to say no because I'm not really going to do it. It wants me to close my eNote. Try this again. Let's try it in here. That's not running in a SQL mode. Yeah, my eNote's still open. Thank you, Leanne. Exit. There we go. Yes, thank you. Maintenance, file maintenance. Huh. I think I'm going nuts. Where? Thank you, Leanne. Send eNote. There we go. Thank you. I never did send that. You sure want to cancel it? Yes. Leanne saves the day. There we go. This is what you'd get. You can't do this till these people log out. Now, people used to reset users from here, and that's bad. If you've ever reset a user, now we have 3 check boxes. Basically, you have to check the boxes and say, I know that I shouldn't be doing this and that it could cause trouble. So what have they done? They've given us this. We say we want to log off users. We give some reason. I usually say quick scheduled maintenance. And we give them so many minutes. Now, I don't have anything open, but if I did, I'd see this. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to. And so we tell them what we're doing. We tell them how many minutes. And basically what it does is it starts to count down and says we're going to log you off. So you log off, and if you don't log off within that number of minutes and within that many seconds, it is going to log you off automatically and safely. Very important. If you ever need to do something that requires exclusive access, modifying the file structures, doing certain things within tabs, closing a month, doing all sorts of things that require occasionally for you to kick people out, if you have users that don't pay attention and don't listen and you don't want to run around getting them logged off of PracticeMaster or logged out of tabs, this will do it. Now, I do have one client. I was there on Tuesday. They're in Cleveland. We told everybody to be out of PracticeMaster, and when I went in to do something, everybody was out. I don't think I've ever had that happen before. If you don't have a firm like that, then Platinum is going to help you to get people logged off safely without having to run around to all their desktops and logging them off. Exchange connector. As you may or may not know, PracticeMaster can synchronize calendars and contacts with your Outlook. When you are not in a Platinum mode, that is a direct conversation that your computer has between your open and running copy of PracticeMaster and your open and running copy of Outlook. Now, there are certain things that can happen in an exchange mode, but basically it's a conversation between the two programs on your machine. So if you are a lawyer and your machine is turned off and you're in court and Sally, your legal assistant, has just made an appointment for next Tuesday at 9 o'clock for Mrs. Smith to come in and sign her will, and the judge looks at you and says, are you available next Tuesday at 9 o'clock, you would look at your synced phone, and because your computer is off at the office and because your PracticeMaster is not syncing with your calendar instantly because it isn't Platinum, then you don't know that. Because Sally made the appointment 10 seconds ago, 10 minutes ago, whatever, you have not synced your phone since that happened. Now, you could leave your computer on with PracticeMaster and Outlook running, but that doesn't usually happen. With the Exchange connector that is part of Platinum, this conversation that makes this synchronization happen is removed from being a conversation between your copy of PracticeMaster and your copy of Outlook, and it now becomes a conversation at a very high level between your Tabs server and your Exchange server using two very high-level users, the PM Exchange connector user and a certain user within Exchange itself. There is no longer any need for any machine except one, and that would be the one that made the appointment in PracticeMaster, to be up and running. Everybody else could be logged out. You could have your computer with you in your briefcase, and if Sally had made an appointment 10 minutes ago for Mrs. Smith to come in on Tuesday at 9 and sign her will, you would see that on your smartphone. That's what the Exchange connector does. It removes that need for your PracticeMaster to sync with your Outlook and instead says, we'll just let the servers talk to each other, and no matter whose computer is on or whose computer is off, that'll happen. We have a couple additional reports that are included in Platinum that aren't in the regular version, the regular multi-user version. Most notably, we have an accounts receivable by timekeeper report. We are now able to see on an accounts receivable report the amounts broken up by who did the work. Traditionally, your accounts receivable report will show it by whose case it is. So if Paul has a case and Dave is also working on it, and they've both logged and billed $1,000 worth of time, in the traditional multi-user version of that report, that $2,000 past due amount will show up in the accounts receivable information under Paul because it's Paul's client. In the new accounts receivable by working timekeeper report that's in Platinum, you have the ability to say, I want this represented by working timekeeper, so that Paul will know that $1,000 worth of his time is past due, and Dave will know that $1,000 of his time is past due, regardless of the fact that it's Paul's client. It won't all show up on Paul's report when you're running it by working timekeeper. Now, if you look down here under additional resources, one of the things that you have is a Platinum white paper. These things here give a very plain English description of what the differences are between regular multi-user and Platinum. This Platinum white paper is something that you can print out and give to your IT person. It explains the very intricate details of how that's different and why that's different. So this is the workings of how Platinum is different from regular multi-user. These are the features and the functionality from an attorney's standpoint. Now, let's look at pricing real quick. I promised to, and I will. There are two things that are different. There is pricing. I'm going to say that we have 35 people using PracticeMaster, and we have 20 attorneys. And we have priced out PracticeMaster. So in that arrangement, PracticeMaster and Tabs are going to be more expensive in a Platinum version than a non-Platinum version. And I guess I should have. I'm actually going to switch to a different view. I forgot that we've changed this pricing page at software technology. Okay, we're going to talk about pricing. We're not going to look at it. The software is more expensive. The multi-user software is less expensive than the Platinum software. The prices are different. Not only that, with Platinum you need an additional piece of software called the server software, and it comes in different sizes depending on how many people are running how many different programs on their workstation, something called connections. So you've got more money for Platinum software versus the regular multi-user software. Tabs3 9-timekeeper multi-user is less expensive than Tabs3 9-timekeeper Platinum. But in addition to that, the Platinum requires this separate piece of software called the server software that ranges from several $100s up to many thousands of dollars depending on how many connections, and that's required as well. So you've got the two things to consider. Now, typically, if you have, let's say, a 9-timekeeper version of Tabs and maybe 15 PracticeMaster users, you're looking at anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 or $7,000 in difference in price between standard and Platinum, between regular multi-user and Platinum. I can give you exact pricing. It's not something that I can simply say, it's this much more. It has to do with what software you have, how many timekeepers you have, how many PracticeMaster users you have. What you can do, however, is you can go to STI's website and you can say, I want to go to the pricing page, and that's just a matter of clicking pricing. It's pretty much everywhere, but it's under products and pricing, telling it what you have and what you have as far as PracticeMaster users and Tabs timekeepers, and it will tell you what the regular retail price is. The problem is you need to know what the regular retail price is for what you have in order to know what your trade-up value is. So don't be confused and go here and get this price that's way more than what you would pay, because that doesn't take into account that if you're on maintenance, you can simply trade up for the difference in price. Now, in a minute, we're going to talk about Platinum SQL and what its differences are from Platinum to Platinum SQL. The only difference in price when you're dealing about the difference between Platinum and Platinum SQL is in the server software. The Tabs3 Platinum version for 9-timekeeper is no more or less expensive than the Tabs3 Platinum SQL version. They're really both the same version. The only difference in price when you're going between Platinum and Platinum SQL is the cost of the server software. Okay? So bottom line, let me know, and I will tell you exactly how much it will cost if you already have the software to get up to the different level, either Platinum or Platinum SQL. Now to go back here, the last part is Platinum SQL. Now, the only real information they have on Platinum SQL on the website that I could find, and Marcia may interrupt me or tell Leanne differently, is this white paper, kind of a nerdy sort of thing. So I'm going to tell you there are two things that are going to change that would cause you to go from Platinum to Platinum SQL or to go straight up to Platinum SQL. If you have a 64-bit server running a 64-bit operating system and you have RAM that is extra on that server that can be allocated to caching, Platinum SQL will run even faster than Platinum. And this can be all sorts of different ways, not just the accelerated reports or the accelerated filters or the accelerated sorting. If you have the RAM available and you get the Platinum SQL and you set up that RAM properly in your server, things like saving time entries or going from screen to screen or saving client configuration options or whatever it is that you may be doing, the whole overall operation of the program can be faster, and depending on how much extra RAM you put in that server, can be significantly faster. The largest install of PracticeMaster in the world is I believe over 300 users. It's in the Detroit area, and they took a server and put the maximum amount of RAM that you can have in a server, which is 128 gigabytes, and saving a fee entry went from 4 seconds to a fraction of a second. So the differences can be significant if you have the RAM. The other reason to get to Platinum SQL is the external data connections, something called the ODBC drivers, no longer need to be licensed on a per workstation basis, and those external data connections, those ODBC drivers, are faster, just like the reports are faster going from multi-user to Platinum. If you do not know what I'm talking about when I say external data connections, then you probably don't use them. If you've never heard the term ODBC driver, then you probably don't use them. If reports to you means going here and clicking a button within tabs, then you probably, and that's the only way you ever get reports or ever get information out of tabs, then you're probably not using any external reporting capabilities. We do have the ability to do that, and we've actually had webinars and even virtual user group meetings that have talked about what you can do when you're accessing the data externally, how you can pull it into Access or Excel or into a custom program and do really neat things with it. But if you're not doing any of that, then that does not apply to you. So those are the two differences between Platinum and Platinum SQL. These are all the differences between regular multi-user and Platinum. What questions do we have, Leanne? Any?
None at this time.
None at this time. Marcia doesn't have anything more to tell me? Okay, very good. If you have questions, be sure to just give me a call or email me. I'll give you the long and the short versions of my email if you don't already have them. It's paul.purdue. Purdue is like the school, not the chicken, P-U-R-D-U-E. paul.purdue@attorneycomputersystems.com. But you can also reach me at paul@paulpurdue.com. Same email box, different address. A little easier to remember, paul@paulpurdue.com. Leanne is raising her hand patiently now. What do we have, Leanne?
We do have a question now. And the question is, can we get under the hood into the SQL?
No. You can look at the SQL databases through the Microsoft Management Console, the SQL Management Console. You can do SQL statements through an ODBC compliant program like Excel or Access or custom program. We do that a lot. You cannot pull up these tables and write to them. The data access is still read-only. So I think, depending on what the person means by under the hood access to SQL, I think the answer is probably no. But if you need clarification on that, email me, because I need to know more details about what it is that you want to do. Any more questions, Leanne?
No, no more questions.
Okay, very good. Email me if you have questions. Email me if you'd like pricing, if you'd like to know how much it will cost you to get up to Platinum or Platinum SQL from the regular version that you may have now. Everybody have a good afternoon and a good rest of the week, which I guess are one and the same. We will see you next month. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.